So I'm just going to run through this PowerPoint, guys, on the Fuji processor, which we went over in lab, but just so you have it if you want to look back on it. And I apologize for my pictures. They are really not the greatest. But this is a picture of that network work list. This is the tab that we don't have in our lab. This is where the work list will be at your clinical site if they have it. And just a review of the tabs. Network work list is all the exams that need to be done. You'll select your patient off the list. Local, it's your suspended exams that you might need to go back to. Registration, if the order entry system is down, we call it a downtime. You'll type in the information. The tab today is exams that are done on the machine today. Delivered is anything that was delivered. Also, this is the tab that you're going to use to restart a completed study. All is just everything. Q we don't use, and QA we don't use really most of the time. Q, you might see images get stuck in there. It hasn't happened in a long time, but if our connection to the radiologist screen is down, we call it a gate. If the gate is down, they'll sit in this Q area, but otherwise we don't tend to use it much. Network work list. So there's a couple of ways to select your patient off the list. Where my mouse is here, you can see me taking the picture. Sorry, I just noticed that. There'll be a list of names and exams. You'll click the name and click the green arrow. Oh, let me go back because I clicked myself away. If you don't see the name right away, you can hit the refresh button, or you can scan the barcode on your order. The registration tab, which we talked about in lab, is you're going to use that when the order system is down and you have to type in your own information. Patient ID has to have 7 numbers. Patient name has to be last name first, then first name, and your caps lock has to be on. Date of birth, you need something separating it, so I use slashes here. You can use the dots over here, like that example there. If your medical record number does not have 7 digits on your paper, you have to add zeros in the front until you get 7. Then you're going to hit the next button. And either your selections will auto-populate. If they don't, you're going to go to the section where you need to decide what area of anatomy that you're looking at. So I have the chest one highlighted here, and then you can choose what views you did. So this is a 2-view chest PA crosswise and chest lateral. Down here is a Start Study button. And then your views will pop up here. Whichever one you're going to scan under will be highlighted green. Unless it's a black and white screen, then you won't see this color. It'll be sort of a version of gray. If you need to add a different exposure option, other than the ones that you have, you're going to go to this new exposure menu, this big square with a plus. If you want to add an additional view that you already have on your list, just click on the view that you want to duplicate and add exposure. There is a processing change exposure menu. If you process your image under the incorrect parameters, you can reprocess it under the correct ones. The repeat exposure on-off, we don't tend to use on our machines, but this is a selection you can put on that as soon as you delete an image, it automatically gives you a repeat option. The trash can down here, you can use the trash can to delete some of your views, and the red X will delete your selected image. And just like I demonstrated for you, if you hit the red X by accident, we can remove that, so don't worry. All right, Benny, who will be in the student office for you. He needs an x-ray. So we took the x-ray. You need to scan the barcode at the hospital. Then you're going to put the cassette in barcode first and push it all the way to the right. And it will scan slowly up till you get an image. Once the image is done, there are rotational tools down the bottom. They might look a little bit different than ours at school, but they'll be similar. There's usually a flip APPA, rotational options, that kind of thing. The one at the hospital has this other setting next to it. It says 1 or 6. So you can view 6 images at once or 1, whichever you like. We don't have that option, but whatever makes you happy. These are just those rotational tools, and most of the buttons, if you just hover your mouse over them, they'll tell you what they are if you can't figure it out from looking at the pictures. This is a right and left reversal or a PA/AP reversal option. 90-degree rotation, 100-degree. You can flip the AP or PA options as well. The LR, or the letters, obviously, are your annotation area. So you can choose from a set of preset options. Down here you can change the color codes if you like. And then this annotation area with the A and the little dots is a free text, so you can type in whatever you want. You're going to select the arrow after you type, and if you hover over it, it'll say paste. But essentially, if you look at the image, it's saying, do you want to put your writing onto the image? Yes, I do. So click that, and I'll scoot it over onto your image. Shuttering and cropping, there's a couple options here. So if your image comes up like the one ours did at school, where it has those white rectangles on the outside of it, you would want to crop it. You can use a rectangle, or this one, I call this one connect the dots, because you can kind of make it whatever shape you want, depending on what you need to mask off. And then I always hit the preview to make sure I did it right before hitting OK. All right, so there's a preview button. You can preview what you're doing and then hit OK. If you screw it up, just hit cancel the shadow masking and it'll start you over. All right, we can fix anything. There's a magnification option. Obviously, it's fairly self-explanatory. Plus is your zoom in, minus is your zoom out, right? And then the QA sequence, you can use, we used to call it contrast and density. Now we've moved to brightness instead of density, but you can window level your image to make it better if you need to. If you screwed it up completely, this is a reverse all, and it reverses back to your original. With Fuji CR, you'll get 2 readings, an S number and an L number, and I gave you guys a printout on what those are. We really don't focus on the L number too much clinically, but the S number is definitely something you want to pay attention to. And just remember the S numbers are an inverse relationship for CR equipment. So a low S number of, say, 50 is actually an overexposure. A high S number of, say, 700 means underexposed, you didn't use enough. But this square is your S number, that's your L. How do I send my image? You can send one at a time with this little distribution button, or send all images as the big door. If you have an extra one, like I do down here, that's not used, so this open one that doesn't have an image, when you go to hit send, it's going to give you some options. It's going to say, do you want to finish this? Do you want to suspend it, or do you want to cancel it? If I had 3 x-rays in here, it doesn't give me this option. So it's sort of a fail-safe. If you click the button too early, you can say, oh wait, just kidding, cancel, let me go back, I didn't annotate something, or I didn't rotate something, something like that. Suspend, as you know, will go to your local work list, and finish will just close out the exam. Local work list is where we find that suspended exam if you have to come back to it and continue your exam. If the radiologist says, take a few more and then complete, it'll be under local. These really aren't used very much anymore, but this EDR button is exposure data recognition. You can use it to sort of tell the computer how to run it. Most of your machines are going to be set to auto. It reads from center out. The ideal S number is 200. There's some options, semi, fix, or semi-X. These controllers allow you to pick these different cells. So if you knew that you were in only this corner of the CR cassette, you could tell it to focus there. You won't use that at all. We have 2 erasing modes, primary or secondary erasure. Primary is when the cassette was in the room around the primary beam. And secondary is when it's just sitting outside the room collecting just, possible scatter radiation. So primary, near primary beam. secondary outside the room. And that's it.